At least as it stands of right now, one of the worst parts of dealing with this pandemic is that since we've known what's coming and have had to adjust our lives accordingly, we have been dealing with this pandemic for weeks now, even though it's only starting to really spread in a lot of our communities. That in turn has led to a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of what some people are calling anticipatory grief, as we're seeing our normal lives ripped away from us. Don't underestimate the amount of an impact that can have on you. Also, don't underestimate what you can do about it with mindfulness. And for more on that, I'm happy to have with me Elizabeth Hale-Rose. She's a mindfulness expert and a life-based coach and therapist for Privé Swiss Wellness. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today. It's good to have you on the show. And if you can, why don't you just start by telling us basically what mindfulness is in a nutshell and why it's so important?
So mindfulness is a way of paying attention in the moment, using as much of our senses as possible and as best you can, being in the moment without judging yourself. And it's so important because it helps decrease anxiety, increase a sense of control. And it is something that we do have some control over, our attention in this time when there's a lot of things going on that we don't really have control over.
Especially because a lot of that involves looking into the future as opposed to just being in the present. It's important to get back to what we can. Now, so how do we do that? How can you try to stay more calm by using mindfulness?
So, simple practices several times throughout the day can really have a big impact. And one of the easy mindfulness practices there is just tuning into the breath. Do you want me to show you right now how to do it?
Please.
Okay. So, sitting with a sense of stability, actually feeling the weight of your body on your chair, placing your hand on your abdomen intentionally as if you're placing it on a good friend. And then just taking an in-breath through the nose to a count of 4, in, 2, 3, 4, and taking a longer exhalation on the out breath to a count of either 6 or 8. So in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And research has shown that doing this over and over again while being aware of the actual physical sensations in your abdomen will actually decrease the chatter of your mind. It will help you feel more grounded, and you can do it anywhere, anytime.
And I was just doing it while you were telling me. I felt my body unclench a little bit too. That's good.
Yes.
It's helping my body and my mind. So what about for couples? Is that something that can be done together?
Absolutely. I think what's helpful for couples is to, if they're able to, do these practices together, but also to do these practices on their own when they feel their tension rising. Because, as in these tight spaces, it's easy to begin to, blame the other one for some stress that we're feeling. So being sure to take some time to yourself to keep yourself in a good place, but as a couple, intentionally taking the time together to get yourself grounded, perhaps before a meal or before talking about something that you need to think about together during the day. So absolutely, the more mindfulness, the better.
And we're almost out of time. I'm just curious if you can give us a quick tip on how to do this with kids who just tend to not be able to sit still like that as easily.
Kids really like listening meditation If you can ring a bell or play a piece of music and then ask them to raise their hand when they stop hearing it, that's a fun game that they like. Kids are naturally sort of mindful. So even if we just devote our full attention to them and we're being mindful with them, often that helps them relax enough to be in the present moment. So I would say a simple, fun practice like that listening meditation, and then again, just making sure that we're in the most grounded, centered place as possible is actually probably the most important thing when it comes to kids or with anyone else.
Wonderful, and that's a good way we can model that calm for them. Elizabeth, thank you so much for taking the time to help de-stress us just for a couple of minutes. We do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.